Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Mindful Magazine channel. Today I have with me Rebecca Kordecki, and she is a personal coach and trainer of, among other, celebrities. She's a diet coach and she's a mindfulness and breath coach. I'm super excited that you're here on the channel today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah, and for everyone who's watching, could you tell me a bit more about your background and how you ended up as a fitness coach, nutritionist coach, and a mindfulness coach?
Yeah, it's a long story. I'll try to give you the cliff notes, though, because I've been in the industry for about 24 years. Wow, my journey to where I am is beautiful. That's all I can say about it. It's been a beautiful journey to what I do today. But where I started out when I first got into the fitness, which was the very first aspect of wellness that I got into, I had been in the industry of sales. I was a sales rep for a company and I loved my job. I was a field sales rep, so I was out and about every day talking to different accounts, and I'm a gregarious person, so it was a perfect fit for my personality. And while I was at that company, though, I started to personally discover my own fitness. Like I started running, I was training for a marathon. So I would come into work and I'd bring in these little like Tupperwares of my food. And this is back before like that was really cool to do that. And so I would be bringing in my Tupperware, my little plastic bag or my paper bag, and, and eating in the lunchroom my own food, my own cooked food. And people would always be going, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?" But then my body started to change a little bit because I was lifting weights and things were happening to me. So everyone was curious. What was I doing? How was my body changing? And so I started like coaching a few of the people at my work because I was learning things on my own because I was running marathons and I wanted to be, get a better time. So I was lifting weights and I was paying attention to my food. And I started like giving tips out for free at work. And so I loved it. And then one day I walked into the job and we all got pink slipped. So we all got let go. Which is just, it's sort of not really fired, but they're closing the department. So we found ourselves without jobs, and I got a huge severance package because I'd been there for a while, and I had this big check and all this free time now. And I'm like, what's the one thing that I'm the most passionate about right now? And as I thought back, and I had two things that I thought about. One, I never want to be in this position where someone can pull the rug out from under me again. And now I'm without a job. I don't know where my money's coming from. And literally out of the blue, no one knew it was coming. And I'd been there for like 3.5 years. So it was pretty disheartening. But the other thing was I wanted to do something that I felt most passionate about at that point in my life. I was like, I need to feel excited to wake up and excited to give whatever energy I'm giving to the world. And the one thing as I look back was coaching clients and the people at my work. I'm like, they became like my clients, even though they weren't paying me. I was helping them and it felt so good. So I was like, why don't I take this money and take this time and get my personal trainer certification and see where it leads me? So I did, and I studied and I got my certification, and I got one client at a time, one after another at $20 an hour back in the day. And then I got really lucky. I got this guy who came to me and he said, "Hey, I'm quitting the business and I want to give you all of my clients, but I'm going to take 50% of the money and you get to take half the money, but you get a whole client base." And I'm like, okay, didn't have any experience at the time. So I'm like, that's a really good deal, I guess, because I got like 10 clients, even though I had to give him half the money and he didn't have to do any of the work. So I'm like, I think I'll do it. So I did it. And so my business started to grow little by little. And then I went from $20 to $45 to $100, and then my rates went up and my expertise, I got better and better and better. And then little by little, I started getting celebrity clients who came to me and were referred to me. So I started working with some celebrities, then some athletes came to me, and little by little my reputation grew. As I got to understand who I was as a trainer, I developed my style, and my style became, it was kind of like a badass give you the kick in the pants trainer, that kind of thing. But I also had like the sweet touch too. So I wasn't just all drill sergeant. I'm a little bit, and still to this day, the way I do all the things I do is a kick in the pants, but then a lot of good love on the other side. So you're taken care of, and my heart's in the right place. I'm not just beating you up to beat you up to feel good like a badass. I don't know if I can say that on here, but like I'm not doing it to just be a badass. I'm doing it because people are lazy sometimes. And so I come along and I kick you in the pants, but then I also got you. Because I know that sometimes that doesn't feel so good. So I'm also a little nurturing. So I have this is my style. So I figured it out. Got busy with personal training. Then I decided, I found myself rubbing clients in between sessions, like rubbing their shoulders when they'd be like grabbing their sore muscle. And I would start massaging them, not like a deep massage, but like a few moments, because I'm nurturing. And they'd go, God, your hands are so strong. And I'd be like, yeah, they are kind of strong. And I also started thinking, well, this makes sense to add massage to personal training, because I already know the body and I love the physical, the canvas of the human body and the anatomy of the human body. And so I went and got my license for massage therapy. So I added that to the mix. And then I got a really good reputation on that. I started working with a lot of like high profile athletes and other celebrities. And so I just kept getting busier and busier with both modalities. Then I added diet coaching, because that's a natural fit, because everybody needs to figure out their food. So I started coaching clients with their food. And then I started working with families. And then I started working with companies and helping them develop wellness programs. And then along the way, I had moved from LA to New York. And when I was there, I was like, for myself, I was training myself in the gym, and I didn't love the gyms. I lived in the Hamptons. I know, it wasn't all foo-foo like that. I moved in the middle of the winter. It was very bleak. I didn't know the Hamptons from Manhattan because I'd never been there. And at the time, my partner was like, let's move to the Hamptons. My brother has a house. We'll just rent a room year round. And that sounded like a great, smart idea. But I didn't know that in the dead of winter in the Hamptons, which is a seasonal place, it's dead. Like there is no people out there. You're by yourself. And I went into a huge depression when I got there. It was awful. I was like, I gave up my business. I sold everything and I moved to New York. But when I got there, I finally figured out how to market myself and get new business there. And I was reinventing myself in the Hamptons and Manhattan. And while I was there, I was training myself in their gyms in the Hamptons, and they didn't have many choices, and the gyms kind of stunk. And I was like, I don't like this. I want to do a workout really quick and easy. How can I do something at my house before I go to my clients and get a great workout and feel awesome? And so I started playing with sliding, which is a really great way to train the whole body, especially the legs and the butt. So I started working with slide training. And originally when I created this workout that became Bootie Slide, I was putting bandanas over my foot. I would tie them on my feet and I would slide around my wood floor in my house. And I'm like, this is awesome. It feels so good. My body's changing and feeling tighter. And so I would do like every day, I would do like 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. I kept doing new moves. And then by the end of the week, and every time I was doing it, I wasn't thinking I was creating a workout, but I was like, I want to remember this, so I want to do it the next week. So I was writing down, scribbling notes like a mad scientist as I was doing these moves. And I was like, this is great. This is fun. Oh my God. And I can do that move. And this, so I was taking these notes. And by the end of the week, I realized, oh my goodness, I think I have a workout here that I could train my clients with.
It's a whole program now.
It's a whole program. And so I tried it on a few guinea pig clients. I brought it to my clients and I go, hey, would you be willing to try this thing I think I just created? And a few of them tried it and they were women and they were like, oh my God, it's amazing. You have to teach classes here in the Hamptons with this. So then little by little things started and I got classes there and I started still training my clients. But then I started teaching Bootie Slide, which was a placeholder name. Like, I'm not going to keep that name. That's too risque. It's got a weird connotation. It's a placeholder name. But as I started launching it as Bootie Slide, everyone was like, the name is awesome. Keep the name. And so little by little, it got really popular. Like it was an accident. And so there was a show there, Extra, the TV show Extra. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a TV show here where they report on celebrities and high profile things. Anyways, Extra was doing an interview in the Hamptons for the top best summer workouts. And someone said, you got to do Bootie Slide. You got to get Rebecca on the show. Her workout's awesome. So I got on Extra and then I got more press just out of the blue. And then somebody came and said, we want to make an infomercial out of this. No. So I had an infomercial. It was on for a year and a half. And then the program was packaged as a video set you can download and you could do it at home. So it sold in Walmart and Kmart. And Bootie Slide was like kind of my claim to fame, my one big thing. And not everybody that's in this industry can say, They've had an infomercial, like 2 companies actually came and said, we want to spend a ton of money and throw it at your product and put you on TV with your product. Would you do it? So I licensed it to 2 different companies actually. And, you know, look, I'm not sipping Mai Tais in Malta with you, so I haven't made, you know, the riches from it, but it was awesome to be able to say that I had this product that became an infomercial that people believed in enough to put a ton of money in. Yeah. And I also now have a packaged product that, you know, sold in Walmart. And that's kind of a cool thing to be able to say. All that being said, there's something that happens when, as you evolve as a human being, as we grow as a human, as we're on our own journey and our own path, that we start to look at, well, hopefully, and not everybody, because it's a choice, right? To wake up, to expand, to evolve is a choice. Yeah. But as I was on my journey, I started realizing little by little, I was losing the passion for what I was doing in the fitness industry. I mean, it's still, look, to this day, I still work with clients and I'm still as passionate about it for the reasons I was in the beginning. But what happened as I evolved and changed and started growing and deepening my own connection to myself, to my own mindfulness with my spirit, my own mindfulness with my everyday who I want to be on the planet, I realized that the way that I was getting the message I wanted to get out to the planet didn't work anymore. Yeah. So that's when I started going deeper into myself and doing deeper work for me. And as I did that, I just realized that I needed to expand into another type of work, something deeper, something that not from the outside in, but something from the inside out. Yeah. And that's when I started doing breathwork. And I discovered breathwork again. It was an accident. I fell into this breathwork on accident. I was struggling with a really bad breakup that I'd been through breakups before, but this one threw me for a loop. Yeah. And I was teaching a lot of fitness classes. I have tons of clients. I had to, you know, you have to perform. It's a, you know, a performance of sorts. You're there as their coach to pep them up, to inspire them. And I don't get to show up with, you know, low energy. I don't get to show up feeling anxious or sad or depressed. So it was on me to figure out how to shift that. So I knew that I was struggling and I said to somebody, hey, like, you know, and they could feel that I was struggling with this breakup. And they said, why don't you try breath work? Come to this breathwork class. So I tried it. The minute I tried it, the minute I opened my mouth to breathe in the style of breath that I teach now, it was a done deal. I was like, first of all, I cracked open. I had my own discovery and unpacking and uncovering of stuff that I had been like stuffing down still after 15 years of doing tons of personal development, transformational work on myself through journaling and anger work and, you know, cognitive behavioral exercises and all the stuff I'd already done. There was still more because we're never done, right? No. We're never done. It's an ever evolving, ongoing journey. And I'll get back to my point, but I always say this quote, how I explain it to people when they say, when is it done? Do you have to keep, how much do you need to keep going? And I said, look, what I do now is all I do is get better about rebounding faster. Like how quick can I get back to good? Like how quick can I reset myself every time I fall off? Every time I get depressed, every time I get sad, every time I get angry, every time I get frustrated with life, how quickly can I get back into my heart and spirit and get centered and grounded again? And so it's this
question that most people have is, okay, I'm good in this moment, so now it's working, but how do you keep it up? How do you stay in that zone?
Yes, and you won't, like we don't, and thank God we don't, because that's in the messiness, in the falling off is where we learn the lessons. That's where we get our gifts. Like every time I've fallen off, you know, what I mean by that is not falling off the wagon. I just mean like falling off of being in the zone, like falling off your high flying disc, if you will, you know, where everything is awesome. And when you fall off, that's where you learn. Like when I'm up here, I'm not learning so much. I'm in the zone. I'm in joy. I'm not necessarily learning, but when I fall off and I'm in the pit, I'm in the bottom, I'm in the trenches, that's when the lessons, that's when the nuggets of gold are discovered.
It's almost that you're forced to think in that moment. Yes. Went down or closed the department. It's like you were somewhere where you've never been before, and then had to think about it. It will define kind of the rest of your life, that moment.
Yes. And so, and to come full circle about that. So when I was doing that breath work and I felt all of those things start to happen inside me, I
Yeah.
realized, you know, my mission on this planet, and I've had the same mission for the last few years, for always since I started in this business, but it's gotten stronger and stronger and stronger as I've done more work on me and realized all the pain that I see around me in humans on this planet. And we'll talk, I know that's one of the things you want to touch on is thoughts about that. But I think we're all walking around with a lot of stuff. So when I realized this is a tool that can shift people in an instant, can change the way you're feeling and unblock and unpack and start to allow you to get some clarity and free some space. Like sometimes all we need is the space to expand into ourselves and understand and look at things and have a different perspective, a space to step to the side and go, how can I really look at this? What can I learn? How can I reposition it? And that's what it's about. So when I discovered the breathwork, I was like, oh yeah, this is the next level for me. And I got certified to teach and then started teaching classes and literally I fell into the stride of it immediately. I started getting amazing feedback from my style of teaching. The studio I taught at was like, you're amazing. The students love you. Can you teach another class? And then just little by little, it just started growing. Then people asked for privates with me. And so now this breath work is almost the majority of what I do now, to where I'm doing so much less personal training anymore. Less massage. I barely do any massage anymore. And most of it, all my work and all my focus is on that, plus some other projects that we'll talk about shortly. But yeah, I think, you know, when you finally find, and I talked about this in a post the other day, there's a book by David Brooks. It's called The Second Mountain. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but he's a New York Times editorial writer. And he wrote this book called The Second Mountain. And it's about like how in life, you know, the first mountain of life is kind of doing that thing you always thought you were supposed to do, or what your parents told you to do, or what you think society wants you to do. And so you go to college and you do your schooling and you trudge along and you crush the plan and you do it, you climb that mountain, you get to the top of the mountain and you're there and you're doing that PhD or you're doing that law degree or you're doing that being a doctor or social work or whatever it was you thought you were here to do for whatever reason. You're on that mountain and for a moment it feels amazing. But then something hits you and it doesn't feel amazing anymore and you fall off of that mountain and you're in the valley of your life and you're like, I thought that was the thing. What do you mean that's not the thing? Oh my God, now what? What do I do now? And there's reflection and there's like, you know, deep, that's where we go deep into the deep work of our soul and try to figure out. And then suddenly I think when you bump up against that, it wasn't what I thought it was. And that's not what I'm here to do. You uncover your truth of why you're here. And in this book, David Brooks talks about that's when you discover your second mountain. And the second, and so, you know, I think, you know, when you get to that second mountain, when you finally get there and you realize that this is really what you're here to do, and it doesn't look anything like what you thought the first mountain was. And look, and that first mountain was important. It was useful. It let you prove to yourself that you have the chutzpah, that you have the charisma, that you have the talent, that you have the determination, the follow through, and all of those amazing things. There's many life lessons on the first mountain, and it's for a reason. But the second mountain, and in this book, he goes into it, like how it's where we all really find what we're meant to do and what we're really here for. And that is such a, I call it, I'm in the sweet spot of my life right now. I really am. And I know there's so much more that's going to be and become of being at the second mountain, but this is the beginning of it. And so that's how I look at what this breath work helped me sort of discover. And so I'm just excited about the journey. I'm excited about the practice. I'm excited about the work I've already been able to do in such a short amount of time with the people around me because of looking through a different lens of how I can touch the planet rather than thinking it was, oh, I'm just here to work with people to help them feel better in their body physically. That's not my purpose. It was useful and there was a reason why I did it and there was many lessons I learned, but that wasn't it. So,
it's now a combination of things. And do you think, there is a certain point in people's lives? Is it different for everyone when they go to the second mountain?
Sure.
Is there a certain period that it's maybe for everyone?
Yes, and look, and I believe in, check his book out if you're interested in the topic. But I don't think, not everybody goes to the second mountain. A lot of people stay on that first mountain and just stay there in complacency, or stay there in unfulfillment, and stay there in, oh well, I guess this is all there is kind of mentality. A lot of people do that, or a lot of people go, I got exactly what I wanted. This is what I came here to do. I'm good. And a lot of people stay on the first mountain, and not everybody falls off and wants to get to the second mountain. And some people get to the second mountain in their 20s, other people in their 30s, other people, and it's going to be different for everyone, because we're all different. We've all got different life experience. We've all got, different challenges, different, restrictions, limitations, boundaries. So many. Yeah.
And how would you could you tell people how, for example, what could be a good tip to look into yourself to find out your second mountain, or what is your purpose in life? Because I think this is one of the hardest things out there. When I speak to people and I ask, oh, so what's your life purpose? And they're like, I'm still figuring it out.
Right. And look, thank you. That's a great question. I've been talking a lot about this because, like you, I get this question so many times from people. A lot of more so younger people, but also sometimes people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s who are, have done what they thought was their purpose, and they're going to the second mountain. And I always answer it in two ways. One, I don't know if you ever listened to this Oprah Winfrey's Super Soul podcast, right? And Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. She did a talk on there recently, which was really awesome, about purpose. But what she did was she said, there's this whole thing about everybody trying to find their purpose, and we got to get our purpose. And if you don't know your purpose, what's wrong with you? Because people could feel, I had a woman come up to me after my class. She's in her 60s, and she's like, you talk about purpose sometimes in class, Rebecca, and I've never had a purpose. I don't know what it is. And so when you go there and you ask questions about that, I always feel like, what's wrong with me? And she was, aware enough to come and talk to me about it. And I helped her see that. I helped her say, look, I'm talking to the people who are struggling with it. And it doesn't mean that you have to have one. It doesn't make you bad or wrong. But for the people who want to find it, I'm giving them just little nudges for how to think about it, how to find it, how to look at it. And I said to her, look, maybe your purpose is to just be curious in life. And this segues back to the Elizabeth Gilbert podcast, which was about stop worrying about a purpose, right? Don't worry about whether you have a purpose. What about finding out what things in life you're curious about? Because curiosity, when we get curious, we open up our realm of possibility to so many new things. And out of those things we're curious about might just be our purpose. Might not, right? Might not be anything. But at least you'll find a whole new library of things, if you will, of things you could explore and discover and have a joy about and learn about. This, I do believe, that when we stop learning, we stop growing. When we stop learning, we stop having that fire in our spirit and our soul. So curiosity forces you to learn, which then spurs on your spirit and your soul and keeps you vibrant. So
and at least you know what you don't like.
Exactly, yeah. And so I have this. And I'm going to give you this exercise. This exercise I created, it's called blank slating. And so this is an exercise I created I've been doing this for a while, but specifically for one client who was struggling with what's her purpose. She's doing a career. She's been doing it for 30 years. She's tired of it. She wants to move into something new, but she has no clue what the new thing is. So I said, okay, we're going to do this experiment, this exercise. And you're going to put a timer on 1 to 2 minutes. I want you to think of your life as if a blank slate, like nothing. You know nothing. You've done nothing. You have no experience. You're completely blank, like a blank canvas, right? And I want you to just free associate whatever's the first thing that comes to your mind that you're excited about. Just let some thoughts come in. And the first thing whatever it is, glass blowing, learning more about cats, climbing mountains, exploring Gandhi, learning more about Gandhi, researching, you know, I don't know, how to cut a potato. I don't know. Like whatever you get curious about in those 2 minutes, write it down. Everything, anything, whatever it is. Do this every day for a week or 2. Create a list that's really long. And I don't care how many things are on that list, but 1 to 2 minutes each day. What are you curious about? What are you curious about? What are you curious about? What makes you light up when you think about it? Because you know nothing. If you knew nothing, what would be the one thing you'd go, I think I want to explore this. So then you've got this list at the end of a week. Go through that list and then circle the thing that stands out the most when you read down that list. It's maybe 50 things by now. What's the 5 top things that when you go down it, you're like, oh yeah, that's one, and you circle it. Oh yeah, oh, that one, circle it. So keep going. You end up with 5 things. Those are the 5 you go explore. When you do those and nothing struck you as a purpose, go back to your list. What's the next 5? What's the next 5? Until you find that thing when you've explored it a little bit that really lights you up. And that might be your purpose.
And it's amazing. Actually, it's a great tip because like that, talking to your subconscious, and so you think more about what do I love instead of what makes money, which is an
yes. And that's the other thing too, is like, get off the money thing, because I believe, like, look, when I got into the breath work, how the heck am I going to get this thing off the ground? It's completely new. It's completely different from what I've been doing for 21 years. I discovered it 3 years ago. For 21 years, my life and bread and butter every single day has been personal training, massage therapy, diet coaching, some speaking, some podcasting, some blogging, you know, all of that was always in the mix, writing, and all of that was always other things, ways I got my message out there. But my bread and butter was that. And I'm like, how am I going to go in? And I'm like, all I want to do is breath work. I don't want to teach I don't want to do the other stuff anymore, but I had to make a living. So I'm like, how the heck am I going to figure this out? And I just trusted the process. And every day I showed up to teach breath work. I showed up 150%, gave every single bit of energy I had, was in my most authentic self every time I teach. Don't think about the money. Don't think about the what next. I just thought about right here, right now, right? Mindful. Standing in my presence, standing in my spirit mindfully about who I am, what my message is, what I'm doing right here, right now. And
do you teach in retreats, or is it like an everyday class, or how do I see it?
Yes. So I have many ways that people would come to explore this with me. Right now, the easiest way, if you live in Los Angeles, you come to my physical class. You can also, if you don't come to my physical class, I have some audio, streaming audio of breathwork, an introductory one. I'm recording some new ones though, to where I'll have like a series of them that people can download to breathe with me wherever they are. Also, I do Zoom. So people can do a class with me, a private with me through Zoom. And also I am launching some retreats. So coming in 2020, we'll have retreats. We'll have the biggest way, you know, if people are interested in learning more about breathwork and discovering it further or becoming a teacher themselves, I just recently launched the Breath Zone teacher trainings. So it's breathwork teacher training for anyone who's more curious about it or wants to make a career for themselves. And I also go into not only teaching them about the breath work, but I also teach them how to make a business out of it, because now I have made a business out of it. So I teach them some of the tools I've used, the steps I've taken. So there's lots of ways people can do it.
So if you ever come to Malta, let me know.
Yes, who knows? I just may be doing that. I got a lot of places on my list. So yeah.
There's a lot of retreats here as well, and it's nice, especially in spring and autumn. It's nice.
Yep, it could be on my bucket list. I'm making a target list for retreats. So yeah, you never know.
Gozo, the other island. It's amazing for retreats.
And okay, good. Yeah, awesome.
Also, I wanted to talk a bit about your program, because you have a program that's called Flip the Switch.
Yes.
It's more with, I think, younger people, teenagers, children. Yes. Could you tell me a bit more about that? And how do people flip the switch?
I love that. Yeah. So flip the switch, which is now kind of evolving and morphing into Flip Your Switch, is going to be the new title of the program. And it will also be a book coming in 2020. And so it started out as a program for kids. It started out where I was asked to come to a school. A friend of mine who was a principal of a school who knew kind of my story, my history, my background as a kid. I came out of foster care. I came out of a little bit of a dysfunctional childhood. I had also had some trauma in my childhood, and then had dealt with an addiction to drugs for a lot of my years, and recovered from all of that. And she saw my life and my career and what I've done and how I changed people's lives and doing what I do. And one day she said to me, she goes, "I don't get it, Rebecca. I don't get how what you've been through, who you started out as, what you came through, how you are who you are today. Like, how did you flip the switch?" She literally said that phrase to me. She said, "I'm so curious about the resilience in you. And do you think it can be learned? Do you think it's something is it tools how have you done it?" And so it got me pondering. And so I started thinking on it, and I started, putting together like the answer to her question in my head. I started answering her question in my head over the next few days and few weeks. And as I kept thinking about it and thinking, I'm like, this is a system that I've done. These are tools that I've used. This is something that can help everybody, anybody. It doesn't have to be kids, but it was created as a program for her school. She said, "Can you come to my school?" Because 2 weeks later I reached out and I said, I actually think I have a program. She goes, "Could you come to my school and talk to my kids about it?" Because they're at-risk youth and they're all struggling, and they're coming from, broken families and parents who are addicted to drugs, and they're in poverty, and, some of them don't even know where they're going to sleep at night. And can you come talk to the kids? And I said, "Are you kidding me? It'd be my honor. I would love to." And so I put together this program, Flip the Switch. And it's a speech, a presentation, but it's an interactive workshop as well. So it can stand alone as a keynote speech, but it can also be an interactive workshop program for the kids to interact in. So what it morphed into from that was recently, about 3 months ago, I was asked to go to Oregon, a place called Klamath Falls, Oregon, which is a county up there that has the highest suicide rate, or at least one of the highest suicide rates among youth.
Wow.
And they had heard about my program and seen some of the videos that I've posted on Facebook with Flip the Switch. And they asked me to come and speak to their community with that program and see if I could give some tools for the adults who are struggling with how to raise their kids differently, to arm their kids with better tools for feeling better, instead of struggling with thoughts of suicide or feeling like that's the only way out, and also for the kids themselves. So I went up a couple months ago and did that, and that was a keynote speech plus a workshop for the kids. And it was amazing, the feedback that I got. There was 100 and something people at the first one, and the kids came the first day, and then the second day was the keynote. And the feedback that I got from that community about how all they need to have is like tools like this and programs like this, where kids actually will listen and pay attention. And then also for the adults to start doing some of these things for themselves. Because, as adults, if we've not learned anything growing up of how to deal with what we felt as kids, and then we went into adulthood, then we got married, then we had our own kids, but we never dealt with the pain, the trauma, the sadness, the abandonment issues that we might have as an adult. How can we parent? We're parenting through that lens. And I'm not a parent, but I can imagine if I were a parent and I didn't do my work, I'd be putting my stuff on my kids. So, there's a phrase I use, like, parents are out there kind of just doing their own emotional tantrum. Emotional tantrums, they're reliving their own emotional tantrums now with their kids a lot of times, because they didn't learn any skills.
And it's really hard to get out of that situation where you're in, because it's like a vicious circle. You keep giving the next and the next and then
the next generation, until somebody breaks the cycle. Somebody says, enough is enough. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of seeing this happen. And somebody stands up and say, we have to stop this. We have to do something. We have to look, and it's not, someone can't just come talk at them and it's going to fix and it's going to change. They have got to, those kind of communities, people struggling with this kind of stuff, have to take action. It's interactive. Nothing will ever change with talk. You can't talk at the problem.
sorry, how is
Yeah, go ahead.
kids among each other? Because, you know, as a kid, you're a bit more shy about talking about your feelings. So how
Yeah.
are you dealing with that when you're with a group of kids?
So that's why how you work with kids, it matters, right? So what I did was I came up with a lot of kind of fun ways of getting them talking about emotions, fun ways of connecting without calling it, okay, we're going to connect right now, or okay, we're going to sit here and talk about our feelings. So I did it through movement. I did it through creating something fun and different for them to kind of drop into. And then underneath it is the exercise of the talking about feelings and emotions. And also there's something to be said that when kids feel like they can trust you, or they see themselves in you, or you see yourself in them, when there's like this commonality. So because of my story, because of what I came out of, and my energy, look, I'm going to toot my horn a little bit. I have a way to connect with the kids right away. I don't know how I do. I don't know why, but whatever, for whatever reason, my personality right away connects with them. So as soon as they feel safe with me and they connect with who I am and where I've been to now where I've gone, they're like, oh, if she can do it and she came out of that, oh my God, I see hope. And so they start to feel, I get a little emotional. They see their self in you, and they see some hope for their future. And then that's all it takes, is they just need a little hope sometimes. And they just need to believe that there is a way out different than what they've seen, different than what they know right now. And so I think of my program as a program of hope, a program of possibility, a program of action, a program of interaction, of connection, of communication, a way in, but then gives you a way out, right? A way out of your story. So it's a lot,
Because even for me, for example, my past as well, I had a lot of healing to do. That's why I went to mindfulness in the first place. But someone like you would have stepped in at that time. And I know I'm not speaking just for myself. There's so many people out there that either are trying to heal from some past or still in some process. And it's good to start with the kids and break the cycle. So the next generation won't have to deal with the same things again.
Yep, that's it right there. So that's my reason for starting with kids also, is that, we have to break the cycle, and why not start there? And then those kids become parents of different kinds of children, and with different behaviors and different coping mechanisms and different communication styles and different tools. Like, I think of this program as arming them with a tool belt. Like, if you imagine a handyman comes into the house, right? Handyman comes into your house. First thing he does is he looks around the house. He scopes it out. He's like, what do you got here? You got this living room and a kitchen and a bathroom and a thing. And then so he's walking through the house, and he's like, and I came ready. I came with all the tools, just so you know. I have all the tools that you're going to need for me to fix your house. I got a screwdriver that I'm going to use in the kitchen. I got a hammer that I'm going to use in the bedroom to hang those pictures. I got a plunger for the bathroom. I came ready with all these tools for your house. So I'm not going to leave here until I've used all these tools where they're going to fix things. So when I think of this program, I think of it like a tool belt, a wellness, mindfulness, whatever you want to call it, but it's a self-care tool belt. And it's got a lot of tools, because we're complex. There's not one tool to fix everything. I can't just pull out a pen and write my pain away. I can't just pull out a meditation track and meditate my pain away. I have to do a lot of different things. So I have a lot of tools in here, right? So I use that analogy to make it make sense. Like, you need a lot of things. There's a lot of ways to break through, to cut through, to bust out of where we're at. And I'm coming ready. That's all. I'm coming ready for people, for communities, for adults, for kids. Because look, the parents need reparenting sometimes. They need to learn how to redo some of the things they're doing. And also, why shouldn't they have the opportunity to heal some of their stuff,
Yeah, and it takes longer because it's been there for such a long period.
Absolutely.
We do things that we don't even know that we're doing.
Yeah, we're in habits. We're in negative loop patterns. We're in bad behavior patterns. It's just, it's habit. It's autopilot, subconscious programming. It's all that stuff. So I come in and I'm like, okay, I got this tool belt and we're gonna change some stuff. We're gonna fix some stuff. We're gonna change some stuff. We're gonna rearrange some stuff. We're gonna bust some things up and put it back together differently. And that's kind of what it is. So it's called.
And how long do you think it takes, more or less? I mean, how long is this kind of process?
And that's it's a tough question because like anything, we're all different. Like, how long does it take for somebody to learn a new language, right? Some person might pick it up on the first couple of days, because they're gifted, they're talented in that area. Like, language makes sense to them. It's easy. It comes to them. The next person might take 2 months, right? Yeah. So we're all different. The other caveat, though, is how bad do you want it? Like, people say to me, how many times should I breathe? How long does it take before I stop crying in breathwork? I always say, how fast do you want to change? Yeah. How bad do you want to change? That's how hard you should work. That's how often you should do it. That's how much you should give. And that's the answer. And then on top of that, though, everybody's different, right? Yeah. So what might work for someone in 1 session might take the next person 5 sessions. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a hard question to answer because we're all different. We're all unique. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. That's
okay. And do you still use your nutritionist tips into the whole mindfulness? And what leads to a lot of overweight and depression nowadays?
Right back to where we just started. Like, all of the stuff we've not resolved. All of the stuff we're stuffing down through our food. All of the pain we're blocking with overeating it doesn't have to be food. It could be anything. I could be addicted to anything that's going to help me mask my pain. That's going to help me not feel numb out, check out, tune out, sex out, gamble out, shop out. Like all those things are ways to check out. Over-sexing, over-gambling, overusing, overeating, all of it is a way to check out, numb out. So why? Because we didn't do our work. Why? Because we still got pain. Why? Because we're afraid of what's under there. Why? Because the answer's long. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you still keep it up yourself every day? What do you do to keep it up? Because I imagine you're super busy.
Yeah.
What's your secret?
So so diet tips, you mean food tips? You mean
everything, anything,
yeah.
From diet maybe to work.
I am on myself 24/7. I am my own guinea pig on everything. And so everything that I ever teach or preach or talk about or share or use an exercise, I have done to myself. There is not one thing that I put out into the universe that I use with a client or teach in a class that I have not first done to me. So everything that I'm talking about, everything I'm sharing, everything I'm writing about or blogging about or interviewing about are all the tools that I use every single day or every single week. So when it comes to my food, I am conscious of what I eat. I am aware of what I'm putting in my mouth. I try to eat a clean diet, which to me, clean simply means, more whole foods, not processed. Watching the condiments I'm using, not frying my food, baking, grilling, steaming, eating more foods that I have control over, meaning that I cook my foods as often as I can. I will go out to eat sometimes, but I'm more like to be knowing what I'm putting in my body. Like, even when you go out to eat, sometimes you ask for this, you can ask for special things, but you still don't always know. Sometimes they're lazy back there in the kitchen. They don't really give you I don't know. So I just like to be mindful of what I'm eating. And I do that best by being in charge of my own food. And doesn't mean that I'm not crazy about it. I used to compete in fitness. And so I was crazy about it then. Like, I was down to my minuscule calorie and down to, I knew everything I ate, and it was awful. I don't recommend it for anyone. It was so restrictive. But it was a goal. I had this goal. Look, I'm in fitness competitions, and any goal that I make as a goal, when I'm really committed to it, it's done. So I'm like, I'm doing this. I want to compete in shows. I want to do 3 of them at least. I did my goal. I hit 3. I placed in all of them. I brought trophies home. I'm like, okay, that goal is over, and I'm never doing that again. It was, but I wanted to.
Very disciplined now. It worked out.
Yes, but I always ate very clean and was always mindful since I got into this industry. And so now what do? I keep very, mindful about the food that I eat, but I also really in particular, the biggest thing I do is I have a morning routine, and I call it my RK tune-up. That's what I call this thing I do. And it is a series of things that I do every morning without fail. Some mornings longer, some mornings shorter, but without fail. And it keeps me on point, on purpose every single day. And it's, in brief, I'll give it to you. It's a longer thing if I had more time, but in brief, it's really like 3 to 5 minutes of a meditation breath work, meditation plus breath work. Then it's 3 to 5 minutes of a gratitude, visualizing gratitude, things I'm thankful for, things I can call in and be mindful of remembering that I've experienced, giving thanks to the people who've touched my life. Then it's 3 minutes to 5 minutes of affirmations. And my affirmations are long. They're long and they are very thorough, and they're elaborate and descriptive. I don't just do, I am amazing, I am abundant. I don't do those. I do really descriptive ones. I make them fun. I've gotten in the habit of singing them now. I have this whole new thing that I'll talk about soon.
And they're personally for you, so they're really made for you.
Yes. And then the fourth thing I do, so it's the meditation with breath work. I do 3 to 5 minutes of that, which is very short, but it's long enough for me to get grounded. Go into my gratitude, I go into my affirmations. Then the final thing, and I don't do this as much anymore as I used to, but I recommend for people who are struggling with any low energy vibration or depression or low grade feelings of blah, like that feeling of like, why am I here in the morning when they wake up, or that heaviness when they wake up, 3 to 5 minutes of intense movement. So movement that forces you to break a sweat. This is not like a leisurely walk. No, this is like get your heart rate up. You're doing 100 jumping jacks, some jump squats, going for a fast walk with dumbbells in your hands to break a sweat on purpose to change your physiology. You've got to change your physiology. When you're feeling heavy, you're feeling sad, depressed, funky, every morning you wake up, you've got to do something to kickstart your physiology. And so when you break a sweat, when you get your heart rate up, your biochemistry changes. And so that plus the other things I described, you put all that together as a morning tune-up, and I don't know, when people do this work, when people do it routinely, I've seen lives change just from that little piece right there. So
3 to 5 minutes, heavy workout.
You do something that gets your heart rate up. If it's sit on a spin bike, you go hard and fast for 3 to 5 minutes at the most, maybe 10 minutes, but you do it till you break a sweat, or you feel your body temperature rising and some light sweat starting. Then you know that your physiology is changing. As soon as you're in that place, another thing you can do, which I recommend to people who are really struggling, is out loud on top of that, say your affirmations. So while you're moving and you've got that energy changing and you're breaking a sweat and your heart rate is up, out loud, I am amazing and awesome and abundant, and my life is amazing. I'm open to all the opportunities I see everywhere, every single day. I am so grateful for everything in front of my eyes. Whatever it is that you want to say, whatever you want to write out, make them expansive and say them while you're in that movement. Watch your whole life change. I'm guaranteed. If it doesn't change a person who's struggling with some low grade, now someone who's totally in a real manic depressive and they're chronic, and it's, they're on medication, this might not help. But I still would almost argue that this would start to change them too. So, and
it needs to start from somewhere. I mean, if you change, you have to start with the small things. And even if we don't really believe in it, we will believe in it eventually. It's like a positive brainwash.
Yes. And, they're saying fake it till you make it, right? You've got to start somewhere. And I always say, how bad do you want to change? Like, that's just the question. And then the other question is, can you be willing? Can you be willing, and how badly do you want it? Start there.
Thank you so much for these tips. They're so useful. I'm pretty sure everyone who's watching is really, really happy with this interview because you're really brilliant. Thank you. My pleasure. To wrap it up, can you tell everyone where they can sign up for your online classes, or where they can contact you after this interview? They want to know for sure.
Yes. So a couple of places they can find me. I'm on Instagram at Rebecca Kordecki, just my first and last name. I'll spell it Rebecca Kordecki, but I'm sure you'll post that somewhere
Yeah.
where they can get that. You can go to my website. I have two of them. One is for the breath zone, and that's for the teacher trainings and breathwork stuff. And that will eventually have a capability to book a Zoom session with me, to come online and breathe with me. And that is just the breath zone, no E. So BREATH, thebreathzone.com. And they can also go to my website, RebeccaKordecki.com, which is all about my fitness background and, you know, all of that stuff that I've done for 21 years in the industry with that.
I will add some links in the article,
Yes,
so you can all look at that. Well, if you like this video, give it a or a comment. And thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
I enjoyed our talk.
Yes.
You have such a road ahead in which you're going to inspire so many people. I learned a lot from you, so thank you.
Thank you so much, sweetheart. I hope it gets cooler soon for you there. Talk to you soon.
I hope so. I'm really sweaty. It's really, really warm. But the night is going to start, so slowly.
Yay.
Now.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, babe. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.